I was playing a game with him. It was called, oh man. Dang, man, what was that game? I forgot. Something about you gotta ask the alligator what time it is or how many. Yeah, I don't know.
You ask the alligator what time it is?
Yeah, and the alligator says, lunchtime.
Oh, that's cute.
And he goes and attacks you.
That's really cute. Never heard of that before.
I don't know. Her and what's her name play? Ooh, what's her name? Summer, you ever play Sardines?
Sardines.
Oh,
now everybody, you guys got to answer the questions. Nobody's allowed on the call that doesn't answer the questions.
I am too early, so I gotta go. What's going on? Wait, what you say? Nobody's allowed unless you answer the questions. What does that mean?
Right. You got to answer the questions tonight.
Guess what? That wasn't on the prompt to click OK, so I don't have to do that.
Oh, here we go.
That wasn't on the prompt.
You're gonna participate tonight.
I'm out.
Hey.
I'm out.
So we don't have to worry about that.
You know what?
I'm out too.
I'm participating like this. I'll participate like this. Screw it. I can do it like this. No problem.
Let me see. Like what? No.
All day.
Everybody
All day.
Yes. Everybody got. Oh, look at your Vera's on. I see Patsy.
It's gonna be a good one, huh?
This gonna be a good one.
Hey guys.
I'm out.
Hey, where's Angela?
What up, Nori?
She just texted me. Hey, Sarat. Oh my, where
hey,
you going?
You gotta answer questions. If you don't answer questions,
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I hope you cut.
Hi, Ava.
Nah, not yet.
Oh
my gosh.
Nori, can you do me a favor?
What?
Can you text Broadway and ask what the hell is going on?
Who's Broadway? Tony?
No. Rico.
Oh.
Her special guest speaker.
Vita, we could have went outside.
You want to go outside?
Our computers are gonna work,
guys.
I think it should.
Yo,
I'll go outside. It's nice outside. I'll meet you outside.
it's beautiful outside.
Wait, do we need two computers or one computer?
Just one, you'll be fine.
Nori said, ask her.
Hey, Kimberly.
What up, Santiago?
Hi.
Oh, we got two Santiagos. Wait, two Santiagos?
Okay, I'm gonna log off. I need you, Vera.
No, Margo.
Hi, Santiago.
Margos. What up, Margos? Margos, Santiagos.
You can't see everyone. You gotta swipe.
I'm just the MC, so I have.
Oh, do you hear me?
We hear someone. I hear someone saying, "Yes, I hear you."
Hey, Kimmy.
Oh, right there. Start video.
What? This is
it's Vera. Hi, Vera.
Hi.
I'm like, who's calling me Kimmy?
Really?
Hey, baby. What's going on, baby? Who's talking, baby?
Who is that?
Oh, what is happening?
Who's that?
I hear people, but I can't see them.
Yeah, I'm gonna commit to that.
Hi, Auntie LaTasha.
Huh?
Yeah.
What up, Quazy?
Hi. I hear someone saying hi, but I don't
Bro,
know.
you're gonna cover the couch.
Hi, Naya. Hi, Summer. Hi, Quasar.
Hi, guys.
What up?
Are you?
All right, yo, there it is, 8:05.
Yes.
What up, everybody? Happy Wednesday, and welcome to the 15th final episode of the Naked Truth Book Club with your author and narrator, LaTasha J. Summerlin. I'm your host, Sarad, and I hope you guys are ready for this one tonight. Woo! So, disclaimer, just so you guys know, this is a little season finale, extra bonus, episode. So this was mainly for the females, and the guys say, listen, if you want to join in, you can. So I see some guys here, so I hope you guys are ready to answer these questions. I saw them. They are juicy. But anyway, before I get to that, let's go over how you can actually get a hold of Tasha. You can follow her, on her Instagram by clicking LaTasha J. Summerlin or Facebook LaTasha J. Summerlin, and also YouTube. Now, this is recorded live on YouTube Live, so you're more than welcome to go and check out your after footage when you do. But her website, if you click on LaTashaJSummerlin.com or just type this into your browser, it will bring you to her website. Will give you access to all her information, such as her upcoming books or even her blog information. But how do you contact her? Well, let's say you want to get in contact with LaTasha just to ask her a question or to find out any upcoming events that you want to be a part of or help out. You can simply go to her contact profile. You can enter your name, email address, and message. She will reach out to you with any kind of information that you would need. Also, how do you get your personal copy of a book? You're gonna go to the book link here. It's gonna bring you to the book page. You're gonna scroll down to where it says buy now. It's gonna show you her what is it? Amazon. Her Amazon, so you can actually purchase her book. It's $12.99 and it's actually on Kindle as well too. So if you're not a person that actually likes to have a hard copy, you prefer to have it on your electronic device, you can do that with the Kindle. Cool. Guys, man, I'm excited about this last episode. Now, there are some rules with this book club. The first rule is you must have a drink. So, where your drinks at? Put them up. I want to see them.
No one has a drink tonight.
All right, I see a water bottle. I mean, it's the summertime and there's no drinks. And listen, I think it was like 9:24. Still daylight outside yesterday. That's true. So drinks, bring your friend, and most importantly, get ready to get some good information and, I don't know, just put your hands together for LaTasha J. Summerlin. Go!
Wait a minute.
Yeah, Tasha. So, Tasha, the mic is yours. Go!
Hi, guys!
Oh, there he is. I like the pots. There you go.
There you go.
Now we're improvising.
Okay, good. Because every week, I have an issue with me not hearing enough clapping. Tasha shaking her head like, yes, we know. We know you have an issue with it.
Yes,
Thank
he has an issue.
you. Oh my God, everybody clap for Kelly Roach. She is on the line tonight. Woo! So, thank you guys so much for coming. As Saran said, this is our last episode. We saved the best for last. So this is our final episode of the book, The Naked Truth. Tonight, the chapter is called Mistress. When I wrote The Naked Truth, let me tell you guys, I didn't hold anything back. I put everything out there. So for those of you who have not been on the call, I did write this book, and I started this book club group to encourage and inspire others to share their stories just as I have shared mine, because you never know who your story can help, or you never know who you can inspire. I know throughout the 15 weeks, it's been 15 weeks, oh my goodness. Throughout all the weeks that we've been doing this book club group, I know that each and every person on this line has been able to take away something from the group, and they have been able to use it in their daily lives. So with that being said, this is an interactive book club group. What that means is that I read a little bit from the chapter. After I read, I will stop, and then I will ask questions. And I would hope that you guys would rush to take your phones off of mute to answer my questions and to share your information, because you never know what your story can, or how your story can help someone else. So we are going to get right into it. I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear these stories tonight. Patsy told me she got some good juicy ones. So I can't wait to hear you guys' stories. If you have your book, turn to page 106 and 36. If you do not have your book, then you can look up right at the screen and you can follow along. All right, so 136, and we are at the top of the page. Before we move on to the next chapter, I want to share with you a story about me being on the other side of the fence that I vowed never to be on. I could not understand for the life of me why any woman would want to be with a man if they knew that he already had someone at home. And now I was the one to personally have an answer. What was the point of being with the man? What did you gain out of it? Before now, I could never understand because the other woman always had limited access to that man, especially his heart. For most women, the man's heart is the main reason why we get into relationships with them to begin with. Sometimes I'd hear women say, oh, well, I can be with him and don't have to deal with the headaches. That was nonsense to me because when it came down to being a mistress, you deal with as much crap or probably even more. So what's the headache that you're not going to deal with? Over the years, I had been cheated on every chance that my man got a chance to stick his penis in someone else. And it literally had me questioning so many things about myself, like what was wrong with me? Why did he feel the need to go somewhere else to go get the things that he could have gotten from me? I heard that a man wouldn't stray if he has everything that he needs at home. That's not true. A man won't stray if he has self-control. He is the only reason why he won't cheat. And he's the only reason why he does cheat, not you and not her. So I'm stopping right there. So, woo, this is fun. Guys, I'm reading this chapter and the person that cheated on me is on the phone. Oh my God. No. Everyone's like,
Who said that shit?
okay.
I would put it in my vomit.
So my first question is, if anyone would like to answer, is why do you think people cheat? That's the first question of the night. And I know everyone probably has an answer for this. So there should be no silent people on the call right now.
I think they cheat either because they're bored, either their spouse or themselves are lacking in some type of something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, yeah. I think
So
that's
you
why.
think that people will cheat if they're bored?
Yeah, if they're bored, or a lot of people like to see if they still have it, and then it just leads to something else. I just think, I feel like when someone cheats, they're just weak.
Okay. So
you know, it's like
good.
So always tell them, females always have emotions, men don't. That's why it's easier for them to cheat. So I'm like, yeah. Answer,
okay.
Vera. She can't hear you.
So that's a good answer. That now you did say you're kind of breaking up a little bit, but I think that you did say that females have emotions and men don't have emotions, and that's the reason why men cheat. Is that what you said?
Yes, because we'll think about it. Men don't think about it. We're more like, oh my gosh. Like, to me, it's like, if I was to cheat, like with that scent, I will know his scent is not my man's scent. I just don't want nobody touching me that's not my man. So it'll be harder for me to cheat versus,
Versus a man.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's a good answer. So we have men on the line. So I have a question for the guys. Do you feel that that you guys cheat and no emotions are involved, you just cheat because it's something that you can do? So is Nori correct by saying that?
Well, let me answer that question real quick for you guys. Number one, let me ask a question. First of all, Nori, where are you at right now? Are you in New Jersey? Where are you at?
I'm in Florida, where all the corona is at. No.
Oh, are you? Because I'm in Jersey, and it's literally about 80-something degrees out here. You got a sweatshirt on.
Because I'm outside and I'm by the bushes and grass, so the mosquitoes think I'm candy. So I need to make sure I protect myself.
So back to Tasha's question that she asked about the men. Tasha, you know what? The only thing is, it's an unfair question to ask these guys because none of these guys here cheat. So I don't know if they can answer you, but I mean, go ahead. Try.
Wait, you said none of the guys on the call cheat?
Yeah, I don't know what this is it right here.
Well,
Listen,
females
could be worse, I must say. Females, when we gotta pay back, we could be as devious as a man.
No, we cheat
true.
different.
Yeah, we do cheat.
Smarter.
Yeah, she said we cheat differently. We smarter. We think.
Yeah, so I think that
I just wanted to say real quick about the whole cheating thing. I feel like I cheated. I think most people cheat is because they want to get ahead at something and they have a disadvantage. They've been trying so hard to win, and they just can't. Like, all right, what can I do to win? So sometimes you got to cheat. So like in football, sometimes hold on. Yeah, hold on a little bit, and I would cheat a little bit so I get ahead. Or if I was racing somebody in the foot race, I would kind of like try to take that gun and like, you know, I would cheat a little bit. So I cheat, I guess, because when I've been trying hundreds and hundreds of times to win at whatever I'm trying to win at, and I just can't win. I may cheat a little bit just so I can, you know, make it a fair competition. That's all I want to add.
Okay. So guys cheat because they want to win something. They want to win a trophy. And I guess their girls are not.
I'm not speaking for all guys. I'm talking about somebody competitive, I would say. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
What?
Listen.
The hell?
Listen, guys. Listen, guys. Let's be real. Guys, let's be real. I must say that it's within our blood, in our nature as men, to have multiple women.
That's true.
So it's
I know that you're not my brother.
Hey yo, I know all y'all on team Baby Boy. You know when Tyrese broke it down, she's like, Jody, I know you cheating on me, Jody. He said, you want to know the truth? I make love to you and I fuck the other bitches. They don't mean shit to me. You my girl. I just want to get another nut off. You my girl. It's a different type of boning. Ain't no emotions there. You know? Ain't no type of emotions. Now, all kidding aside, I'm playing. But look. Hey, but all kidding aside, I know all y'all seen that movie Baby, but when he shut it down, that shit had me dying. But listen, right? I'm with Vic, you know, as a woman, and I'm not trying to be cool. I'm married. I'm being dead serious right now. You know, the Bible says you reap what you sow, and adultery is a big sin, so I never want to commit that. But
there you go.
Before I was married, I have cheated on numerous girlfriends, and I'm not saying it to be cool because it's not funny, but the reason why I feel like men cheat on their woman, A, it could be because it's born, and two, it's a game for men. It's like, all kidding aside, as a man, for a woman to cheat on a man, it has to be some type of emotion, another connection with another man is giving a woman that their man isn't giving them, unless you're a hoe. Most girls don't act like that. Some are nasty and trifling, they do. But a woman, for them to step out on a man, for the most part, is some type of connection they have with another person that is strong, so they're already catching feelings. So for them to do that, they're already basically falling for this guy. They're not just going to open up their legs unless they're nasty. As a man, we literally can get a good nut and mess with another girl and think nothing of it and go about our business. And it's not something that, like I said, we're not trying to brag or be cool because it's wrong. But from a man's point of view, it's just in our blood, bro. Like I say, like, how can I say this without being disrespectful? Because my wife is right here. But as a man, you know, I say to my wife sometimes, like, and that's my wife. I said, listen, men get tired of hitting the same thing over and over again. It doesn't mean that we're not in love with you. That don't mean we're going to step out on you. But if I can jerk off to something, and I'm just keeping it real, if I beat my meat, it ain't no hard feelings. Would you rather me beat my meat or go bone something else? I'm just keeping it real. Like, let's not play games here. And women, you guys, you may get tired of us hitting it or us busting too quick, and I'm one of them. And you tired of this nigga busting quick. That don't mean you want to go cheat on me. But if you got a vibrator, go do your thing. Ain't no hard feelings. Like, let's just keep it real.
Gotcha.
I think that's bullshit. I think that's bullshit.
Hey,
I have never heard of no man say they get tired of hitting with their women. I have never in my lifetime heard that.
Bro, because your man is probably spanking the shit out of his meat when you at work.
No, it's like let's say if someone was to have sex with their partner every day and have fun with it, I've never heard a guy say they're bored with it. Like, that's just crazy to me.
But that doesn't make it okay.
I never you putting words in my mouth. I never said bored. I said just always hitting the same thing constantly.
Exactly. It's like saying you're
that's
bored.
why you got the internet. You don't need to cheat on your woman or your man. You got the internet. And you ain't doing nothing wrong. You in your private time doing your thing, and you still got your loved one. Ain't no reason to be cheating, especially if you're married. I just don't believe in that. That's the end of that.
This is what I was gonna add. Thank you so much for being so real, and thank you so much for sharing that, because a lot of girls, you know, want to know the answer to that. And I feel that when guys are younger, like in their 20s, they're more prone to cheat, because I think it's just a thing that is, I want to say glorified. In the community that they're in, like, oh, I can get that girl, or I can bang that one down or smash that one down, whatever they use. I think that when they're younger, they do that, but then when they're older, they're more mature and they're like, it's not worth all the risk that comes. Is that true for the guys?
I mean, come on, I think it's a little one-sided.
Can I please say
Do
something?
it. Girls do it too. Girls are just as bad as guys. I want to say that.
I agree. Girls is just
Women do
Guys
it.
are cheating. Guys are cheating with not cheating with guys. Are cheating with girls. That means the girls are cheating too.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Before we hold on a second, Mouner said he had to say something too. We're gonna do one at a time so we can hear what everyone has to say. Go ahead, Mouner.
Yeah, I'm not understanding why we are separating and saying guys do something and girls do something when both people do the same exact thing. Like guys take other guys' girlfriends all the time. That's an emotional connection that a guy has. Like that happens all the time. It happens both ways. So to say that guys are one way and whatever people say, like, didn't speak for me. Like I'm not the same. Everyone's different, right? But I think everyone does everything bad, and it's the person, the individual, not necessarily male versus female. That's just my opinion. So whatever we're all saying, it applies to the other person next to you in a little box over here too.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for sharing that, because you're right. We are all the same, and there are some people that will cheat, and there are some guys that will not cheat at all. They feel like if they're going to cheat, they might as well leave the person they're with instead of cheating with them.
I just
Okay.
want to say, you said there's some people that won't cheat and there's some guys that won't cheat as well. You still said people and guys. Saying guys.
Well, there's people that will cheat and there's people that won't cheat.
Thank you.
There you go. I'm just so used to saying guys.
Yo, Kim, how about I talk like that?
Y'all women too.
Women do cheat, and we have admitted that we do it, and I think that we're a little bit more sneakier than guys are, because we will cheat and then act like nothing ever happened.
I know some sneaky dudes. Like,
There's sneaky dudes too.
I know some sneaky people. They'll never get, I know.
I'm going on to the next reading. So if you guys are looking at your book, it is page 136, and we are down the last paragraph on the very bottom, or you can look up at the top, or you can look up at the screen. Over time, I had become so jealous and insecure that I even started questioning my beauty. I started thinking, well, maybe if I dressed like this, or maybe if I started to wear my hair like that, or maybe if I wore more makeup more often, then he would appreciate me. It didn't matter that over the years, my family would tell me how beautiful I was, or how many other guys would bend over backwards just to get a chance to take me out on a date. If the person that I wanted to be with, and I wanted him to be loyal to me, then what was the point of being with anybody at all? I used to wonder. Eventually, I got so tired of being the main woman who always got cheated on that I decided to retire my position because it was not worth my heartache anymore. Some people may say, well, that is your fault because you stayed in a relationship. Or, well, you're absolutely right. But what did that have to do with my heart? So in this chapter, or in this paragraph I just read, just to clear it up, is that I started questioning myself, like, well, maybe I'm getting cheated on because I'm ugly, or maybe I'm getting cheated on because I'm not wearing enough makeup, or maybe it's because I gained too much weight, or I just started downplaying myself for the reason why I was being cheated on. I never looked at the other person. I always thought that there was something wrong with me. So the question that's up on the screen is, when a person is being cheated on, when a person's being cheated on, why do you think that they blame themselves instead of just leaving the relationship? So or you guys can share a personal experience. So you guys can share your opinion or a personal experience. Have you ever been cheated on and blamed yourself for the reason why the person was doing you wrong or cheating? Or if a person is being cheated on, why don't they just leave instead of staying? Why do you think that is? So go ahead, Tony.
No, I'm thinking because you don't want to tell people's business. So, but I just experienced something.
I hear the birds chirping.
It's too personal. It's too personal. Never mind, I'll pass. Because I'm
gonna pass on this one.
What is that?
Oh, told me.
Yeah,
Just,
Okay. Well, we'll let you pass. We could go to someone else then.
Oh shit! Floyd Mayweather, baby.
We're little Allie.
Well,
they have
before you guys
and they're
go,
freaking
wait, if
Falcons
everybody
freaking-
turn their phones on mute because we're hearing you instead of hearing other people. So
Oh, my God.
I'll just go ahead and share a story really quick. or share my opinion. I think that sometimes what happens is that when you attract people that will cheat on you. I think that if you're a person that gets cheated on, I think that you have insecurities. And I think that people that are just like bad to relationships, you're going to attract them even more. I think that they can kind of sense the low self-esteem that you have. So they'll try to talk to you. And when they try to talk to you, you're probably so shocked that someone's talking to you or someone's showing you attention that you'll go ahead and jump at anything. Not saying that there's anything wrong with it, because everyone wants to be in a relationship. I think that when you jump at that, you're already insecure to begin with. So when you get with that person, you already know that it's bad. You've already seen the red flags, but you continue to stay. So I think that a person that gets cheated on has low self-esteem. So instead of sitting there saying like, you know, I'm better than this, I deserve better than this, I want better than this, you stay in the relationship because you don't feel that you are worthy enough, and you don't feel that you're good enough to be with someone that's not going to do something like that to you. So that's my 2 cents. Jessica, you would like to share something? I see you come off mute.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Mom.
Guys, I think when you get cheated on, it's the other person's problem, the person who cheats on you. I don't think that it has any reflection on the person that gets cheated on. It's their problem. They have low self-esteem. They're disrespecting you, and they don't value you. It's actually on them, not on you. And if you personalize it, it's tough to not personalize it, I'm sure, but at the end of the day, it's them not valuing what they have right in front of them.
Exactly.
That's what they're telling you. End of story. It doesn't matter if it's male or female. It goes both ways when it comes to value and respect.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. And I know like some relationships that a person will, you know, get cheated on and they'll blame themselves, and instead of them leaving, they'll go out and sleep with somebody else to give themselves a little bit more value. And it's like, but like you said, it's not them that needs to reevaluate themselves. It's the person that's doing the cheating.
Right. Yep.
But thank you for sharing that, because that's definitely a big thing, because, you know, it's not you. Maybe they do have a low self-esteem about themselves, and they need to that's how they build themselves up. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else would like to share how they feel or share a story? We are quiet.
You asking for spill the beans and shit, man. Change the man. What the hell?
Well, that's how people. That's how we help other people. You don't have to say the name.
Trying to get people jacked, man. Let's talk about something positive.
This is positive.
I say no
we're
women
trying to help people out there so they know, like, okay, these are the red flags you look for. No, Tony, you still don't want to share your story? We waiting for you to share your story.
I ain't put my spot.
You could sit there and say Joe, and you could use Samantha. You don't have to use people's real names.
All right, so real quick, it's not even a laughing matter because this shit is serious. So basically, my boy's been married, and he found out his wife, not girlfriend, his wife, been cheating on him for 2 years. And what happened was his wife sent him a text. This is my God. Oh, you always reap what you sow. So what happened was she sent him the text by mistake. So basically, she sent the husband a text saying, "Oh, you like when I walk like that?" And my man looked at the phone and was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? I like what you I like the way you walk like that." And he was working. He's like, "The hell are you talking about?" And then the wife replied, nothing. And right there was a red flag. So it just, that red flag started raising eyebrows for him, where he just started doing an investigation. So make a long story short, because I don't want to hold everyone up, she's been cheating on him for 2 years. Dang. It broke his heart, and I couldn't believe it. So, and this person I know is a good friend of mine, and I would never in a million years think this would happen to him. And he started blaming himself. So, and I was saying, when he was saying he was blaming himself, is because he was saying how he used to talk to her, like always put her down, blah, 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 blah. And I said, I don't want to hear that shit, bro. I said, I'm not saying you were saying to her wasn't right, but for her to do that to you for 2 years, that's bullshit. Don't blame yourself. So make a long story short, I mean, imagine you being in that person's shoes where you found out your wife or your husband for 2 years has been messing around with someone else. That shit hurts. It's like, it's hard to overcome something like that. And the stick to the topic is about saying, do you blame yourself or do you stay? She didn't want to leave him because obviously she loves her husband, but I guess she felt in her mind he wasn't treating her the way she needed to be loved or treated. But at the end of the day, like I told him, I don't want to hear that shit, bro. Like, listen, in life, we all make mistakes, right? Our greatest teacher in life, in my opinion, is failure. Trial and error is our greatest teacher. However, you know, don't make mistakes. No one's perfect. But for 2 years, to me, that's a relationship. It wasn't like a one night stand and emotions got let out. She let it smash her out, and it is what it is. She was messing with this dude for 2 years. So to me, that's not cheating. That's above and beyond cheating. So anyway, what I'm saying is he started blaming himself, and I told him, you got to be stronger than that, man. But that's really it, because it's like personal. Like, I really don't want to be sharing people's personal business out, but it hurt. And to see him cry made me cry. Like, you know, you love your significant other. Like, we all make mistakes. We all could be better inside and out. The way we treat our wife, the way we treat our husbands, the way we are parents, everything about us, we can be better. But I mean, you don't start messing around with someone for 2 years. To me, that's not cheating. That's having a relationship. And to me personally, it'll be hard for me to forgive my wife if she was messing with someone for 2 years, bro. I don't think I can forgive her for something like that. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, because, you know, he's not the only one that has been in that situation or in that boat. And I'm not justifying what the wife did, but I know that sometimes with females is that you have sex with somebody and then you think it's just going to be that and that's it. But then after a while, you don't even have to have sex with them. You could just talk to someone else on the phone and then start building a relationship with them that way. And then you could start building feelings for that person by just talking to them on the phone. And then one thing leads to another. And then you ruin someone else's heart that you don't want to ruin their heart. So that is a question that I actually have. Do you think that it's possible to have feelings for two people at the same time?
No. Hell no.
Okay.
Hell no.
Wait, ask that question again. What was the question?
Do you think that it's possible to either love or have feelings for two people at the same time?
I think someone can be in love and love someone, because there is a difference between both. So yes, I do believe
that. Wait a minute. So two things. I just want to say two things. Everyone put their phones on mute because we're getting interference. So I'm getting messages saying that there's interference. And then Nori, you are breaking up because I think you're too far away from Wi-Fi. Just give you the heads up. Yeah, so when you talk, it's like it's going in slow motion. So we got to get you better. We got to get you closer to Wi-Fi.
Oh, were you able to hear me?
No, you're going really like a computer breaking up.
Okay, I'm back on.
Okay.
Either get off Wi-Fi, Nori.
So if anyone else would like to, so Nora, I did hear you say, I think that you can love two people at the same time, but we didn't hear the rest of it because you're too far from your internet connection. So it's messing up your voice. Does anyone else want to share that, how they believe, can you love two people romantically at the same time? Or do you think that it's only possible to do one person at a time?
Well, for me, I think one person at a time. For me, one person at a time. But I know it's different for other people.
Okay. So with the person that feels like, you know, they're in a relationship with two people or they love two people at one time, do you think that they should share that information with the person that they're with instead of going down a rabbit hole? Do you think that it's wise for them to do that up front and saying, listen, I just want you to know that I can't be in just one relationship with one person and I can probably have two people at a time? I think, Sam, you want to share that?
Well, I want to answer that question. I think for guys, you can only love one person at a time. Because I think with men, I think with men, you love with your heart. Like, you know, you love like with your heart with women. they love with their feelings. So they may have feelings. You can have feelings for more than one person at the same time. But I think for guys, you can love only one person at the same time based on how we love. We love like unconditionally with our heart.
Yes. I think that's true. I think that what you're saying is absolutely true, because I think that like when guys fall in love with someone, that is the person that they with, and that's it. They don't want to share that person with anyone else, and they don't want to be with anybody else because that person satisfies them more than enough. So I definitely feel that that is true. Anyone else would like to share before we move on to the next reading? Go ahead, Patsy.
I think you can. I think you can love two people at the same time. I think that it just depends on what one or the other person is doing for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like one person can be satisfying you in a different way than the other person. I'm talking about emotionally. Like, it doesn't have to be sexually. Like you can love somebody for whatever that they're doing, you know, something that they're doing for you. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. Like just anything. Just one person is giving you something that the other person isn't, and that's what you're loving about them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So how do you get the person? I'm just going to ask this question. Anybody can answer. How do you think that if you love one person for, let's say, because of the way they talk to you, or you love another person because they're emotional, how do you get one person to do everything that you love so that you can just be in love with just the one person?
I think it's called communicating.
Okay.
I think you got to communicate that what you want early in the relationship. Yeah. I believe there's open relationships that work. I believe there's relationships that don't work. I think the reason why most relationships don't work is because communication. And that's something that everybody needs to be better at. If you go into a relationship and express exactly what you want, and that person understands that, and they want to, you know, go along with you with that, perfect, great. But if not, I mean, communication is the only way that can work, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Communication is definitely big key. Communication is super important in a relationship. And I think if somebody is not able to commit to one person, they definitely should be upfront about it so you can have a choice. Because if you're not into that, then you could be like, well, maybe I don't want to put my feelings or put my all or put my time into this relationship because I'm not going to be the only one. I know it's, you know, it's hard though. You know, I mean, the person doing the cheating or the person being cheated on is just a sticky situation, you know. Yes. But I think I could definitely agree with Justin on that. Communication is definitely the key, and we never get the person that we want like 100%. That's impossible. Yeah. There has to be, you know, there's everything that we do, it has to have balance. You know what I'm saying? So we balance each other out. You know, for me, I could be like a messy person and not put stuff back where they go, where my partner is like, all right, I'm gonna put it back where it goes. You know, so you balance each other out. You know, exactly. So you're never gonna get you're gonna get, you know, your 80% of what you want in a person, what they bring to the table, you know, what you're looking for. And then there's other things that you could just kind of deal with, or your partner, you know, or tweak it, or, you know, compromise. Well, you know what, my partner doesn't like this, so you know what, I'm not gonna do that. You know, some people don't like to talk about certain things in an open group. So, you know, you're not going to put your partner out on Front Street. Well, I know that my husband doesn't like me to speak our personal things, so I'm not going to do that. You know, it varies. It varies. But communication is definitely the key. You have to communicate. You have to talk. It's like a must. And I also learned, well, I just want to let you guys know that I was in a relationship for 20 years. I was married for 5. I was with him for 15. He's the father of my children. And we're not together anymore. That's a whole nother book. Maybe Tasha could write the book for me. Yes. But you know, I was in an abusive relationship. My relationship was very abusive, and I stood because, you know, I wanted my family, you know, my children, that's their father, whatever. But anyway, one thing I learned is that when you're angry, you know, when you have like a heated argument or whatever, because, you know, we all agree to disagree. You know, we're not going to agree on everything. But if it ever gets that far to where it's such a nasty argument, you know, it's always better to wait until you cool off. You know, even if your husband or your wife makes you so mad, it's better to kind of just like walk away, cool off, and then come back later. Even if it's not the same day, come back the next day and say, you know what, honey, yesterday, our disagreement. I was really bothered by this or whatever. And it's also good to talk after intimacy too. It's a time when you're both vulnerable, you know, you guys were just intimate. Of course, you're not going to bring every problem in your relationship like right after sex. But if there's one thing that you could at least talk about, you could conquer after intimacy is always the best time to talk, because both of you are vulnerable at that time. You could just kind of talk things over and be like, you know, and get a little understanding versus the everyday, you know, I got something else to say. And don't bring your arguments. Don't bring your arguments into the bedroom. Your bedroom is your sanctuary. That is your sanctuary. Like, arguments cannot be in there. They cannot. That's like a big no-no. So it's better to go for a walk with your partner, you know, or go sit in the car. Come here, babe. We need to go sit in the car right now. I need to talk to you. You know, try to keep that stuff out the bedroom, because the bedroom is where you pray. The bedroom is where you have intimate time, where you watch movies together, where you have pillow talk, you know, so things like that is important, you know, but I guess we'll never really know why a person cheats, right? I don't know. I think it just happens. It's just,
it happens
crazy
too. But I have one more question for you guys before we move on with the reading. So what you said, you were in a relationship that wasn't healthy. So for my people on the call, do you feel like you can change a person? Because some people are like, well, they're not great, they're not good, but I think I can change this about them.
Nope, you cannot.
You can't. I tried for 20 years, guys. I tried everything. I even tried Jesus, and it did not work. It didn't work. Because the person has to want to. The person has to really want to. Everybody has something about them that you want to change. I don't care what it is. It's something. Like, you know what? I'm going to fix this. Because if I don't fix this, I'm going to lose my family. You know, because if your wife or your husband comes to you and say, yo, you too angry. You know, you're like this, you're like that. Then you have to sit back and kind of like examine yourself and be like, you know what? I need to chill out, because you know what? When I open my mouth, my children are crying. Or when I open my mouth, my wife is crying. Or you know what? Or even like hanging out. Even when you hang out with your friends, if you know that you're committed, you know what, guys? I've been out for like 3 hours. It's time for me to go home. You can't let people get in your head. Oh,
you hear that, guys, on the call?
Like, come on.
If you guys been out for too long, it's time to go home.
Right, and even the girls too, the women too. Some women take advantage of that. You know, left the hubby home with the kids, but you know you've been gone for like 3 hours already. Like, it's time to go home, because you're committed. You don't ever want to give your husband or your wife that thought, like, what are you doing? What was taking you so long? Or, you know, stuff like that. It's just, you know, stupid stuff that we, you know, important stuff though.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, because that's true too. You have to, like Justin said, open communication, definitely. Because if you communicate and you let your spouse know, or let your other half know what's going on, then they can understand, and they can say, okay, we know that you're hanging out long. Or if you tell them different things that you don't like, then they could possibly change it. We have people that say they agree with Patsy on the line, that you can love more than one person for different things. So Patsy, some people are fans of yours. She's like, who said that? All right, if we can go ahead, we're gonna move on to the next reading. So if you guys look at your books, we are on page 137, or you can look up at the screen. Alrighty. I decided that I would sit on the sidelines and heal from all of the heartache and the pain that I suffered throughout the years. If Mr. Right happens to stumble across me while I was waiting, then at least I was available to take his offer. But a few months later, I was the one who did the stumbling across someone else. He was a friend of the family for a very long time, so I figured that he was safe to talk to. I had no intentions to have a relationship with him at all. And what started off to be an innocent conversation over the phone led to my infatuation with my new companion. Our conversations were typically about how each other's life was going. I thought that I pretty much knew everything about him, so in turn, I would tell him everything about me. When he made me aware that he was in a relationship with someone else, I immediately gave the reaction of being sad. I was not putting on an act. I truly was heartbroken. Our connection over the weeks seemed like we were meant to be. So when he told me that he was having issues and he didn't think that his relationship would last, a sigh of release came over me very quickly. I figured that since he was having problems with his current girlfriend, and since we were getting along so well, that maybe I would be the one to fill her place when he left her. So if you guys look up at the screen, you could see I was single now. I got out of a relationship with a cheater. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be the main chick. I want to just be single. So with me being single, I decided to just have a casual, friendly conversation on the phone with someone else who I felt like was safe. It was a longtime friend of the family. And what ended up happening is those phone calls or those phone conversations made me start to develop feelings for this person. As I developed the feelings for the person, I became very heartbroken when I found out that he was in a relationship with someone else. But when he told me, you know, I'm in a relationship, but I'm having issues, I was like, oh, okay, that's my opportunity to stay here until I can fill that position. So my question to you guys is, do you feel like it's okay to be friends with the opposite sex? Especially if your spouse is not mutual friends with that person?
Yes.
So go ahead, I hear someone talking.
I said yes.
Yes, you feel like you can be friends with the opposite sex, even though your friend is not a mutual, even though your spouse is not mutual friends with the person?
Yes.
Okay.
I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, and could you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Definitely, like I have a lot of male friends than females, and one thing they know, and I always tell them I am with someone, you know, is respect and is trust. Tech knows I'm not gonna do anything, and the dude knows the minute that he steps out of line, it's over. Our friendship is done. Yes. Now the opposite, I don't know, but that's all for debate.
But you can definitely, you trust yourself enough saying that, you know what, I can be friends with a guy and I can talk to the guy, but they know that I'm in a relationship and it's not going to go any further than this conversation.
Yeah, I could talk to them as far as like if advice or something, but I would never overstep my boundaries or feel like I'm not going to do to him where I feel like it's cheating. Like I would never do that. But eventually, yes, he will meet the person because I don't want no problems.
Okay. So if anybody, my next question is, if you go out, like if you talk with the person, do you draw the line there? Like if you guys talk on the phone, or is it okay to like occasionally have lunch or to, let's say, have drinks with the person? No. Is that overstepping the boundaries?
Yes, that's overstepping. Yes.
Okay. So on the phone, you can talk to the person, or at work, you can talk to the person.
I think at work. I wouldn't like, I don't know about the phone, because then it gets from the person calling you one time, now two times, now it's going a little too much overboard that I'm like, wait a minute, that's where you pump the brakes. I don't know.
Okay. So only at work, but you can't do it over the phone.
You know what? I'd rather do it when tech is there. I'm like, oh, I'm over here chilling with my man. What's going on? That's how you do it. Let them know, like, I'm here with my boo. What do you want?
Yeah, I think. But at work, you do it when your husband's around. You know what I mean? Like, because if you just do it at work, then it's like you're sneaking around. And just going back to the last question really quick, like I really feel like if you're in a marriage, if you're in a relationship with somebody, that means you know that person. So I think it all depends on that person. Like if you know that your spouse or your boyfriend or whatever, if they're not capable of having a relationship with the other sex without, you know, trying to get with them or whatever, I mean, that's when you guys have to talk about it. I mean, so it just depends on.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for sharing that story, because you're right. You know your person, so it's up to you to trust whether they can have a relationship with someone else, and you know that it's not going to go anywhere. You know that they just talk to that person, but it's not going to go anywhere over talking. So here's another question.
Tasha, can I add something real quick?
Go ahead, Mallory.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with with everything that everyone's saying about having a friend of the opposite sex, especially for coworker, because I think relationships happen at work. People have like the work husband, work wives, that garbage and whatever. But the thing is, really, if you become like close enough with a friend, your wife is going to know them. You know, like they're going to eventually meet them at whatever team function. Like I don't think we should probably hang out after work by ourselves or whatever. Why would you do that? But like, you can hang out with them, at work, in the office, whatever. And then if you want to hang out outside of work, I'm sure your wife will be there or their significant other will be there. Like that happens all the time.
So what happens because I've been in a situation before where, okay, like I'm in a relationship and I'm, friends with someone that I work with, and they're in a relationship as well. And when we are at work together alone, we talk, have a good old time. And then when we go to let's say a company picnic or something, and I see that person that I always talk to at work because they're my quote unquote work husband, when I see them in public, they act like they don't know me. So I mean, that's very weird.
Well, they're trying not to get caught up, Tasha. That's what they're trying not to do.
Yeah.
They're not trying.
Well, I think that might be their unconscious. They subconsciously have feelings for you, and they're like, my wife is here, I shouldn't be around that person.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
Why else?
So you shouldn't talk to a person.
I know you should be the same in the face, outside, behind your back, in your face. We should just all be the same. It shouldn't matter whether we at work or not.
Yeah, I think that people should be secure enough in their relationships that it's okay for you to say hello to a woman if you're married, or it should be okay for you to say hello to a man if you're married and your spouse not have a problem with it.
Well, is the question about being friend, like having a full-blown friendship with that person? When you say friendship of the opposite sex, I'm envisioning text messaging, sharing social media.
Yeah.
Straight up friend, my previous employer was a female. Sorry, my previous manager was a female, and her and I were really good friends. After work, a group of us would actually go out, to the bars, and usually her and I would be the last one, there. But it was all friends. We were friendly about it. My wife actually met her. My wife came and hung out with us before. We were genuinely friends, and I felt I was. I guess it comes from the relationship with your spouse. I think someone mentioned it. If you know, I think it was Patsy, if you know how your spouse is and you're on board and you guys communicate, you trust each other, it wouldn't matter who you were to hang out with, especially if it's the opposite sex. But if you're hiding it, then that means that something's up. So yeah,
okay.
I definitely think it's cool to send text messages, send pictures, talk on phone with someone on the opposite sex, as long as your significant other is on board with it.
Okay. There you go. From a male's perspective, we have two from a male's perspective that it's
As long
okay
as she's
to be
on
friends.
board. I love that, Sharad. As long as she's on board, she's got to be okay with that. If she's not okay with it, it's yo, don't call me. We're not. No, stop it. What are you crazy? Absolutely.
So if your wife is not okay with it, then you're gonna just flat out tell the other person. Or if your husband's not okay with it, you should flat out tell the other person, "Don't talk to me. I'm good."
Yeah, man, and it's all the way that gets introduced too, man. It comes from the person, whoever's doing the initial, whoever's the friend. The way you introduce your friend is going to determine how the relationship is going to be. I don't want to introduce, whereas it wasn't introduced where I got a text message at 2:00 in the morning and it was this girl. That's my friend. That's not a good introduction to this to the relationship. But it's more hey, I'm working with me. This is their manager's name. I think we should go hang out one day. You hang out, and the next thing you know, they meet each other, and from there, it should be fine. So it's all about the introduction with your significant other. Plays a huge role, especially if you feel that this is a person that could possibly be your friend. If you don't introduce your significant other to that person, that means you're hiding something or you're leaving something out, right?
Gotcha. Okay, so here's a good question. After you said that, is it okay to be friends with your ex? So if you moved on in a relationship, you're laughing. You moved on with your relationship. You know that you are.
Dante's face.
So it's not okay to be friends with your ex, or is it okay?
Only if you have kids in the middle. Only if you have kids in the middle.
Okay, so you have kids. If you have kids with that person, then you can be friends with them. If you don't have kids with them, then you are not allowed to be friends with your ex. Tony, is it okay to be friends with your ex?
Hell no.
I was on mute.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nah, my wife ain't trying to hear that. I won't want to hear that either, man.
Tony, plead the fifth.
Yeah, nah, that's not. It's a respect factor, man. I mean, whether you're married or not, but especially being married, you don't want to piss off your significant other because it's gonna open up a can of worms. So it's funny because I'm over here whispering to my wife, even though I'm on mute. I forgot y'all can't hear me. So make a long story short, one of my good friends from high school, you know, yes, we slept together one time, but to me, she's like my best. But this is like, I'm talking about 19, 20 years old. I'm being serious. To me, I invited her to my wedding. My wife knew that, but because of respecting my wife, like, I don't really talk to the girl no more. And it's like, that's like my girl. I don't ever look at her the same like I did in freaking 2002. You know what I'm saying? We're in 2020 now. I love my wife, but I know my wife isn't 100% comfortable of me hanging around her, so I don't do it. Does it bother me sometimes? Yeah, because I know I wouldn't play my wife out. I love my wife. You know what I'm saying? But my wife made a good point. That's why I was laughing a little while ago. She was saying, so if I had a good friend and you know that I slept with him, whether it was 10 or 15 years ago, but you knew I'm still hanging out with him, you wouldn't get upset. I probably would shut that shit right down. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, man. No, you shouldn't be doing that. That's just stupid. Like, why even entertain something like that? If you love your significant other, you shouldn't even entertain something like that.
He's your ex for a reason.
Yeah, I was gonna say this. It's an ex listed for a reason. It didn't work out for a reason. So
they could be your ex, but it's just a friend. I mean, you invited your ex to the wedding.
There's a difference between being
number
friends.
one. She wasn't my ex. So, hold on, my bad, Patsy. I didn't mean to talk over you. No, she was. Just to clarify, she wasn't my ex. She was a good friend. I didn't say she was my ex. But go ahead, Patsy. I'm sorry.
I said there's a difference between being cordial. Like if you see the person out at a restaurant, you know, oh hey, how you doing? And there's a difference between friends with them, you know, like communicating with them, sending them messages and I don't know, whatever.
Right. You just say hello.
You can say hello and say, you know, how are you? And, you know, whatever. But that's it. Like leave it at that. You see them for that one day and leave it at that day. Like don't blame your number and let's talk. And no, obviously you're not going to take it to that level, but you know, you can be cordial. That's it.
Okay. So you could be cordial with people from the opposite sex or your exes. You can be cordial with them. But other than that,
opposite sex, you can be friends with them. Like I said,
I'm talking about your ex. Your ex.
Oh yeah, your ex. Just be cordial. Just you know, if that's what it comes down to, cordial. If you can avoid
not rekindling flames or anything.
I mean, unless y'all want to, then that's different.
So I have two more questions really quick. I don't have enough time to read it, but my next question is a person that's in a relationship completely off limits no matter the situation? Because let's say you're going through a divorce and you're in the process of a divorce, but you want to get out and start dating. Will that person that's going through a divorce, do you feel like they should be off limits, or do you feel that it's okay or fair game to go ahead and date that person?
It all depends.
Like, Kim will let you go first, then Patsy will go next.
I'm gonna say off limits because until that paper is signed and they're out the house, they can still change their minds. I think the person has to be emotionally available, not just like, you know, split up with somebody. If they're not emotionally available, it's not, unless you don't want a relationship, of course, then that's a different story.
But you think that a person that is, you know, having problems in a relationship, regardless of if they're going through a divorce or not, should be off limits?
Yeah, that's a red flag.
Okay. There you go. All right. Anyone else would like to share their answer? If someone, or an example of you being in a relationship with somebody that was going through a breakup or having a bad relationship, and how did it work out for you? So and Patsy, I thought that you was go ahead and answer, or no?
I was saying that it just depends. Like I agree with Kim. Like if obviously you're not gonna, I mean, I don't know, me, if I was single and if I was interested in a guy who was in the middle of divorce, he's still living with his wife. I mean, I don't think I'd be able to do it. You know, you don't even know. They're probably smashing at night. Like they're probably having angry sex at night and you're trying to talk to them, you know. So I just really think that it depends on what stage of the divorce they're at. If, you know, where their mentality is at. It's just, I think like it just depends on the person. It honestly does. Like if you're really at the middle of you could be in the beginning of your divorce, but you're done. Like you're just absolutely done. You don't want to have nothing to do with them. It just depends on what you and them want. But if you person is really emotionally still attached to their wife or their husband, why would you want that headache? Like wait until, you know, it's all clear and done and they're ready to be yours. You know what I mean? But it just depends on the situation. Every situation is different. So it's just, you know, it depends on what each person wants. But absolutely, I think that if you know that the husband is still living in the house, they can still be working it out. You know, they can still, you don't know. You just don't want that mess until you know it's officially over.
Absolutely. And I agree, because the reason why I said that question is because in this chapter, I said that, you know, the person that I was dealing with said that they were sleeping on the couch and they weren't happy with their relationship. And they even separated from their spouse, where they were staying somewhere else for a while. So I was like, okay, good money. That's going to be mine. So what ended up happening was I didn't know who was filing for the divorce, because they ended up getting back together. So you're in the middle of a divorce. You was messing with me. You guys separate. And now you guys are living separate places, and I'm thinking, okay, this is what you wanted the whole time, so this is going to work out. And sure enough, they got back together and they living happily ever after now. So, you know, you never know. I personally think wait until the papers are signed, but then again, you never know. I have had situations, not me personally, but I have had situations where a friend has been in a relationship with someone else that's in the, you know, process of a divorce, and it works out, and they're, you know, the person gets divorced, and then my friend and the person are together and happily ever after. So you never know. So one more question before we end the call. Thank you guys for coming on. It's the last question is, do you feel that a person that you meet online can end up being a very serious or committed, successful relationship? So
tell me, I need to know, because this is the new millennial and I'm single. Let me know.
I was about to say 3 years of being single determined that was a lie.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Well,
hold on. I all kidding aside, I knew my wife, but everything real, I said, is God's time, and I literally have not seen my wife for years. And I saw her on, I swore on my mother, this is what, 7 years ago. I saw her on Facebook, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I haven't seen Kelly in I don't know how long. I literally sent her an inbox. I'm being dead serious right now. And that inbox let us start married. So, I mean, if I never would have inboxed my wife on Facebook, we probably wouldn't be married. So it's not that I met her online, but I definitely hollered at her online, and it got a nigga married.
Okay.
So you couldn't believe it.
And she got you whipped.
No, but I'm saying, all kidding aside, I inboxed my wife and we ended up being married. So I think it can happen.
Sounds good. All right. So anyone else would like to share their example of meeting someone online and it working or it not working?
So this isn't my example, because it's not for me, but my fiance's brother and his wife actually met online and they're happily married.
There you go.
But then I've also seen my old friend who we used to be very close go totally wrong. Really wrong.
Did they have to get restraining orders?
Amanda didn't have to get a restraining order, right? I don't think she did, but he ended up being like really creepy, and like they just found out some stuff about him, and it was bad.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oof. Well,
I don't even remember it fully, but yeah, it wasn't good.
It wasn't good. Well, I tell people, you know, what's the difference between meeting a person online or at the bar? I mean, they're both strangers. Either they're going to be good or they're going to be creepy.
Right.
So you never know. I met someone online. I thought he was a murderer, so I had to leave him quick. I didn't even tell him where I lived. We had to meet in public places in the daytime. And I went an alternate route to get home. Just that's how scared I was. But the same thing could happen if I met someone at the bar. Could have been at the bar and they could have followed me home and killed me. So same thing.
Could have been an ID show.
There you go.
Yeah. Online is different because you can get catfished. I heard about people, man, I watch TV that people are saying they are someone that really truly are not. So you could be falling in love or falling for someone that doesn't even exist. So a bar, I would feel, I don't know, but I would feel a bar would be a lot more, genuine and appropriate online.
Well, I've drank so much at the bar sometimes that I thought that I was talking to one guy. And then when I met them again the second time, I was like, this is not, so I got catfished at the bar. And I'm like, it's not the guy I met at the bar.
What was it? Was it a drink or was something he put in your drink? Which one was it?
No, listen, I only drink Malibu Bay Breeze. I don't know. He may have put something in the drink. So I don't think Malibu Bay Breeze is that strong for you not to remember who it was you met at the bar.
Just that one shot.
Thank you guys so much
Real
for
quick.
joining me. Okay,
I just
go
wanted to
ahead.
say this real quick. Go back when you guys talk about can you have a relationship and be friends with somebody of the opposite sex and whatnot, whatever. I just want to be very clear. Sometimes the opposite person could be like, they could be gay. So my girl may want to hang out with a gay guy, you know, and he doesn't like girls, he only likes guys, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear that crap. If he got a ding-a-ling or whatever, that means he's trying to put it in there.
That's it. We not. That's it.
I don't want to hear that gay stuff. Oh, this person's gay. They don't want me. Nah, man.
They still be looking.
Happening.
They still be looking.
Still looking. They waiting for a shoulder to cry on.
Let me touch those things, girl. Let me
let's
see,
cut off, watch a movie together. Next thing you know, you feel something poking. Next thing you know, oh, nah, B. It ain't happening. None of that. All that friends, all that. Listen, I'm just wanting y'all to be very clear about that.
So even if they're not into girls, you still wouldn't want your girl hanging out with a guy because he has a penis?
Nope.
Yo, if you got a ding, nope, it ain't happening. Even some girls you can't hang out with. Absolutely not. Some girls are like, nope.
I was gonna say a girl could be a lesbian and they decide that they want to hang out with your girlfriend, and then they.
I think it's fair if both people in a relationship decide if the girl should hang out with that girl. If they both want to hang out, that's different. I don't know.
Oh my God, I can't. Thank you, Justin, for inputting that because I forgot that. Listen, this is what I used to tell people before we all go. Just because it's a gay guy or whatever, or let's say just because he's a lesbian doesn't mean that they're attracted to your girl. Just like people used to try to hook me up all the time with another guy because they was black. I'm like, just because I'm black and they're black doesn't mean that I'm attracted to that person. So
but my girl looks good.
What happened?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Whatever. Thank you guys so much for joining tonight. I love you guys. This is our last and final episode. I'm going to miss you guys all dearly, but we are going to we're going to see each other for the cookout. So you guys will be getting the information from me very shortly about the exact date for the cookout. All right. Thank you guys so much. And we will see you at the cookout.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
You guys are all amazing. You rock, man. I love this, man. I can't wait to the next one, man. Have a great night. Peace.
Good night.
Bye. See you later.